And we're live.
Welcome back, everyone.
Another episode of The State of Modern.
Numero 6.
6?
Yeah, I
We're
think
that
so.
far in already?
Yeah.
Holy crap. 6 years of modern.
Yep.
Um, well, what do we start off with today? I'm kind of still stewing about the news from earlier this week. I think I mentioned it in the post I put up on the community group.
What? Oh, I actually missed that. Was it for the banned and restricted list, or was it for the play packs, or both, or D, all of the above
What?
together?
A ban is restricted announcement. What are you talking about?
Oh.
You mean the play pack announcement with like no changes to any formats stapled at the top to it.
Yeah, that it was interesting. Just for people who aren't familiar, this week there was a scheduled ban and restricted announcement, and I personally wasn't expecting anything to be banned. There's stuff that I think should be banned and want to be banned, but it's not going to come until post December,
Yeah.
and probably January. I think after the first of the year, then they might ban like the One Ring and or Orcish Bowmasters. They announced zero bans. Did you expect anything to get banned?
I mean, I have kind of sympathized with. I think some creators have kind of covered on it too. I've kind of sympathized with the idea that modern isn't really that healthy right now, especially with like. I think it's like the MTG Goldfish data says like 21% of the meta is scam right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
which, especially with the data we've been looking at historically, just seems really burdensome on the meta. I mean, from my standpoint at least, I played it last week and I don't know. Modern's fine, but it doesn't seem that fun right now. So
Yeah, I guess that does bring up something that I forgot is, yeah, I was watching like Pleasant Kenobi and he's like, we're not getting Grief Ban, we're not getting Fury Ban. And I don't know if it was his specific video, but somebody in one video was like, what if they're gonna put those in the Modern Horizon 3 packs? And it's like, that's why they're not banning it, because they don't want to just be like, oh, hey.
yeah, stick them into a reprint, like finally package them into a reprint because God knows they kind of need it for their price point. They're like Fury is like $40 a card right now or something stupid. So which is pretty unreachable when every deck plays either a playset of Fury, playset of Solitude, or both. So
That card I could have seen them ban in that announcement. Standard seems pretty stable. And all the other formats, I don't even know where like Popper's at. I don't
yeah,
keep track of that.
yeah,
Legacy, I wish Orcish Bowmasters would be gone. Formats kind of warped around that right now. I think it's just a worse run in six, and they ban run in six for similar reasons.
yeah, yeah. I haven't dove too much into Legacy. I thought Pioneer was Pioneer still struggling with like Mono Green being the top competing deck right now.
It's not unlike it's stagnated. That's all that's really wrong. And yeah, Mono Green is on top. It's been one of the best decks for almost the entirety of the format, and then Black Red
Yeah,
has been kicking butt.
I mean, with Children of the Apocalypse getting printed recently in Dominaria United, that was like it really just pushed Black over the top for any format that has access to it. So
Sorry, I'm pulling up the pop out chat right now. I always forget to do that. I'm big dumb. Oh, and then oh my god, this is just going horribly. There we go. That way we can see people chatting.
chatting away, no one
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. Well, maybe they already did. We missed it. um. Yeah, I mean, Pioneer. It's in a weird like it's also in a weird place where it's been the same decks for years and years and years.
Mhm.
Arclight Phoenix got Sleight of Hand, which changed that deck. It made it a little better, got a little more popular lately.
Yep.
Um, yeah, tell me more. Like you wrote a post about it, so you must be feeling
Or no, I just
something about
I
the.
just posted briefly in the title of our post, but
Oh,
I kept I'm starting to be more on the sympathetic side of like the elementals were almost like a mistake, and I don't think they should really. I'm almost kind of convinced that they shouldn't exist in modern. Just they don't really feel like they're the one exception to a lot of cards, being um having some sort of play around where those like the pitch free cost is just it seems it's it's like force of will. I mean, like we just printed 5 different new force of will effects straight into modern.
I really feel like at this point it's like why don't you just put Force of Will in there?
Yeah.
Really, like what's gonna be different?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna have a counter war against the up the beanstalk, the first up the beanstalk to hit, and then the game revolves around that one card resolving
Mm.
initially. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It I mean, I guess we could talk about the other reason why the ban announcement was pretty infuriating. Was on top of that, they posted about the play boosters
hmm
right in that same announcement. So, and I almost think that was a little bit of a gimmick to get people to actually read the post because no one would have read it if it was his own separate post.
yep. And that brings up a very funny point. Today I was thinking about kind of like my deterioration of like Wizards and me and being engaged with the content that Wizard puts out,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of them. I used to check their website for articles every single day, and then they changed their website one time, and like it was like broken, like things didn't work, and I don't remember everything, but eventually I just stopped looking at all of their articles every day,
Yep.
and they just lost that connection through there, and they've never reestablished. I doubt they'll ever reestablish it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would have caught like back when I was that entrenched in what they had to say. Uh, I would have caught that, but otherwise, somebody had to come up and tell me. I thought it was just like a theme pack, like one of those theme packs that is just like okay, whatever,
Yeah.
garbage product that nobody really should ever be buying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, I agree too. I think that the BNR announcements are something that I always used to look forward to. Like especially when there are problems with the formats we played, where it was like, maybe Wizards will do something about this. Maybe they're gonna try to fix it. But I never really had that close of an engagement article wise, like being on this in the way that you did.
mhm.
Um, but I do think that 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 says something when people are all looking forward to the BNR announcement and nothing else right now, article wise, from them.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, there's like a whole slew of things, and the BNR announcement really was no surprise to me. I probably would have. That's what I would have put my money on,
Mm-hmm.
unless we got like some weird card like in Pop or something. Like that's the only thing I could have
Do
thought
they
of.
even track proper anymore? That's the real question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't see like they make cards specifically at common for that format, but it's also freaking Wild West. Like they're printing degenerate shit every set, and it just reorganizes the whole format.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say their last one was the initiative creatures,
Mm-hmm.
because those just totally wrecked that format. Just ripped it to shreds.
Yeah, there's been some like burn cards lately that just push burn pretty over the edge, and then it's
Yeah.
like blue black. Last time I looked, blue black with like Tolarian Terror and Gurmag Angler were
Mm-hmm.
the decks to play.
Oh yeah, yeah. Demir like control with Tolarian Terror and yeah, like you said, Gurmag Angler. Like those two,
Mm-hmm.
Gurmag Angler's always been good, and then Tolarian Terror was just like that card when they printed it. Everyone's like, that's a common. Oh, that's gonna just take over. Like no way. Ward 2/5/5 for usually 1 mana.
I play it a little bit in standard, and
Oh yeah,
yeah, I've won some cards with it actually, or like in real life.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good card.
it's a hell of a card. Yeah,
Hell of a
it
card.
kills them real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you want to talk about the? I mean, I definitely do the play boosters.
Yeah.
We'll start off with because I'm gonna go off on a rant on this shit.
So, for those who aren't familiar with what they are doing, so set boosters and draft boosters are getting basically combined into a single product. It's going to be draftable, and also is there to support the like the more willingness to crack it for cool shit. So they're covering the basis of set boosters, coolness factor with draft boosters, draftability. Um, and they are reducing the number of actual cards in a pack down to from 15 to 14. That 15th slot is now going to be an add slash helper slash token slash art card, right? Yeah. So 14 cards in the pack, 6 commons, a list slash common, 3 uncommons, 1 rare slash mythic, 1 basic land, 1 non-foil wild card, and then 1 foil work wild card. So technically, there's only even 13 cards in the pack if they're dedicating a slot to basic lands.
No, there's. Oh yeah, yeah. If you don't count the basic land.
Yeah, because do you consider a basic land a card?
Not really,
packs?
but
Like,
they have been using that slot for like dual land, like the basic dual land.
Oh, that's true.
In sets that need heavy mana fixing.
Yeah.
Which I definitely agree with. I like that a lot.
Yeah, if they're being used for duels, but if it's just specifically basics, I mean, I don't know. It depends.
I kind of question why we still have the basic land in the pack. Like if we're going this far, why do we have it still in there?
Mm-hmm.
You can nichify those in secret layers if they really care to do that. I mean, hell, it's a higher profit margin for Wizards of the Coast. I'm surprised they're not already thinking this. Go cut the basic land out, do all the cool designs in secret layers, and force them to buy secret layers.
Yep.
And then that puts a constraint on the basic land. Well, I mean, based off
the cool basic land economy.
It puts a it does put a constraint on that. It makes it a more special product, but it also puts an actual constraint on basic lands in general, which creates a market for them, and then they might be able to mass produce just regular basic lands and sell them to the remaining card stores.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at like Guru lands, for example. Those are stupid money, and there are very few of them that exist. I don't even remember what those were obtainable for.
It was like this side thing where it was like called, I think it was called the mentor program, where if you like got so many stamps on the mentor program, you could turn it in and mail it away and get them mailed back to you by Wizards.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it was one of those weird things where like, yeah, mail-in things turn out to be worth money later on.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it before. Some of the terminology they've used for the packs are a little bit questionable, where it's like wild cards. That's like a Magic Arena terminology.
They already have a definition for that word, and then they're using it and changing the definition of that word in this.
Yeah. And so, the concern with limited being affected, and then also just the high variety, like opening between 1 and 4 rares seems pretty ridiculous on a power scale.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you have to say, rant wise? Let's hear it.
I I lost a lot of faith in Wizards on this announcement, and it's kind of innocuous because like a lot of people like this change, and I understand why. Um, I kind of feel like a lot of people are falling for the propaganda. If I was working for Wizards, this has been a long time coming. Like this was strategic. This wasn't oops, I guess we made a predatory product and now draft boosters are on the chopping block. It was how do we raise the price floor of our product? Boosters are the lowest price product we have. How do we raise that? Okay, let's um, release set boosters, which have a better value proposition. Just they do um, for a huge percentage of the market. Like we were the exception of we want to go draft it. We have to jump over that obstacle of getting 8 people, which is like also part of the value proposition that Wizards of the Coast had to account for, but I'm sure they didn't. Um, which is negative in the booster draft side. But going back to it, they introduce a product that's predatory to draft boosters, where they could have just made this initially. They
Yep.
could have just done this in the first place. That the set boosters had a higher price point with lower production cost. When those first came out, I talked to multiple game stores and they said, we don't know what to do with this. We are only taking this product in because we are getting forced to. Distributors were limiting draft booster allocations and forcing stores to pick up set boosters. So I'm sure that wasn't just pushed by the distributors side of it. They didn't just decide that they wanted to force this new product down the customer's neck. It was probably pushed by Watsy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had this huge upward force pushing this predatory product into the market. And then, yes, everything you did was to support that higher price product with lower production cost. And then, wow, what a revelation that it's eaten a complete it's completely eaten away at the market of the cheaper product. And oh, now we're going to come in as the saviors and raise the
The issue.
price and
Yeah.
for enforce the issue. And it's not like they haven't known about this for the last year. They're already designing, they already have sets in the product line based around this draft this new draft environment, the new play
So
packs.
they've probably been testing this for a little while and like know what they're getting into. I guess. I guess.
Yeah, there wasn't any like primer, like I don't know. I like I when I look at this, I've been thinking about this for the since it got announced. Like I was like, how do I want to approach this? How do I want to talk about this?
Mhm.
And it sounds conspiratorial, but I'm like, no, that this is directly Wizard's strategy of, and mostly Hasbro's strategy of raise that raise that floor, get every cent of disposable income, and then more from the Magic players. And I was watching an old Magic TV, like it was like a seminar by Aaron Forsyth. I think I talked to you about this. I don't know if I talked to you about it on here. And Aaron Forsyth, this is years ago, close to when Modern like started. That's why I watched the video. He talks about he says our parent company, and then he like has to explain like, oh, we're owned by Hasbro, by the way, to the audience of people who signed up to a cruise, who are entrenched in Magic so much they sign up for a cruise to interact with these people,
Mhm.
and they have to remind them that, oh yeah, Hasbro's our parent company. And he talks about like, yeah, I mean they care about our revenue. It's not like they're firing people if revenue's bad, but like they want it to go up, and if it goes down for some reason, they want a justification. He's like they're not on top of us. They're not breathing down on us.
Yeah.
And you compare that mindset to now is just completely flipped on its head.
Mhm.
And of course, I got to do this whole thing of it. Yeah, it's a corporation. It's got to make money. I get it. I get it.
It's the classic adage of like we're beholden to our stock, our
Yep.
shareholders, and
Here's
it's
our
like,
handcuffs.
yeah, being dragged by the shares.
So, like, I kind of foresee some of this stuff happening. I see it play out. I understand it's coming. Why is it affecting me now? Like, I'm closest to selling my collection and just being done with Magic than I've ever been. And it's like, why is this the tipping point? Why is this really pushing me over the edge? And between the last lack of bannings, the last two announcements, and then this is I've lost a lot of respect for the the people who work at Wizards of the Coast. Not just Hasbro, not just Wizards of the Coast as a corporation. They are directly compromising the game for revenue tactics. And
Mhm.
all I see is people that I used to respect up on a podium explaining or like playing the good guy
trying to put yeah.
and trying
Here's
to,
Mark Rosewater to explain to you why this isn't such a
mm-hmm.
bad idea.
And and it's it, I have a huge lack of faith in the game being going back to it, the game's getting compromised for things to be sold or marketing tactics.
Mm.
And I think a lot of my friends would agree with me um, at this point.
I personally agree with you. I mean, um, I can sympathize definitely with that because like as Magic players, we're not dumb. We know when there's we more than any people. I feel like Magic players, like a lot of them, especially who know how to play the game well, understand numbers and number tactics and stuff like that. Because you're constantly, that's part of the game is the constant interaction of the numbers. And when you're looking at like all of a sudden Wizards has is pushing, it's like this chain of events has kind of led up to this point where they're testing out these products to see if they work, and some of them are much more predatory than others. Like the biggest example that I can think of right away was the 30th anniversary.
Yeah,
That was like that was them saying let's just shoot in the dark, let's shoot in the dark and see what we can hit.
it was. Yeah, I think it was crank it to 11 and just see what happens.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's try it.
yeah. We want to gauge the reaction of what people will do, and now it kind of makes me think of that how they always talked about like they wanted to what was the goal they were trying to hit with their budget, like they're like
Oh,
they wanted to
if
double their revenue in 5 years or something like that, or
yeah, if I
10
remember
years.
correctly, and I easily could be wrong, is yeah, what you're just saying. Double it in 5, and then they met that in like 3.5 years, and they said, "Great, now do it in
Do it
two and a
again.
half
Yeah.
years. Do it again after you've probably exhausted a lot of your internal tactics of getting
Mhm.
people's realistic disposable income. Now we got to do it in 2.5. We're gonna get predatory with it.
Right. And they've kind of like with the set boosters, those were really predatory on the draft boosters, and I could even see it when I was looking for. I like to buy sealed product occasionally from time to time, and draft booster prices are just through the floor, like so dirt cheap. I'm like I can just pick up two of these for the same price as a set booster. Like, and, that doesn't matter to me because I would rather have the high quantity of cards for the lower price, but it's not like you said, it's not healthy for stores to be have to carry that extra product and then sell at a loss, or what, just sit on it and hope it goes up one day and then
Mm-hmm.
sell. And by then they, the amount of time they spent storing it, that thing has occupied more money worth of space. And then now all of a sudden what the bottom floor, like you said, has become okay. Draft boosters are no longer the bottom floor. we're gonna kick the floor all the way up above set boosters. So is that like, does that amount to Wizards, finally like pushing the tactic of we're gonna make this a premium collectible game by no longer having anything priced below a certain limit,
That kind of brings me to my next point of, and Pleasant Kenobi also brought this up. Looking back, when I first started playing Magic, could I afford it at this price point? The answer is no. There's no way I would be entering into this game. Um, Even now, I look at card price, certain card prices, and just how, I mean, it starts at Wizards of the Coast. They raise the price of the packs, and I mean, people have to be the mass box openers have to be compensated. There's like the expected value balances out, so it's never too wonky, and like it'll just inherently raise card prices, except for the fact that there's probably going to be more supply in the market because people are leaving. When I was at Gen Con, I talked to multiple people who move a lot of Magic product, and pretty impressive even by my standards, and they all said we've never seen this many people selling Magic collections. It was a lot of doom and gloom, and I didn't want to play too far into it. The markets go up, markets go down, but there is some credence to most of the collectibles last like 25 years. Once you hit that point, it's down. Look at GI Joes. Look at like even we might see it with Pokemon again. Uh like Pokemon sales, I'm pretty sure are fairly based off of fads. Like, yeah, the first initial one, and then you had the next one. Magic's growth has been fairly stable, I would say, since Innistrad. Like, if you like, even the ups and downs, if you graphed it, it would be going up like this. Whereas Pokemon, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah, Pokemon
boom.
just kind of goes like this all the time.
And is that the model that we want to follow, or do we want to be the everlasting card game, the one that everybody knows will withstand all of the fads, all of the like
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh and Dragon Ball Z 30th version of it. All these, I call them like disposable card games. I've seen them come and go, and Wizards is taking on the tactics of some of those card games as they're in. It's like it doesn't seem like it's going to be everlasting because they're taking on tactics of failing card games.
Yeah, there's a very startling lack of effort into the longevity of the game over the profitability of the game. And that's something that like Wizards is, they've harped on it before. They've said, like, literally said, we don't want to push profitability over the gameplay side of it, but that feels like an empty promise now.
I To their credit, to their strong credit, I would definitely say that Limit is just about the best I've ever seen it. Like, it's not always perfect, but I'm very impressed with like the limited environments, and I'm sure they'll figure a way through these new play packs. I have confidence in them on that. I will. This is just a side note. In the daily MTG thing, or the YouTube video, Mark Rosewater did say, like, I think we do a pretty good job of balancing cards. I'm not releasing like broken cards anymore, and he meant specifically like this weird, like this cards that are created for limited stay in limited, cards that are designed for like standard or stay, like they might have a little bit like, and I do agree with him, but it was just like the way that he said it made him be like, oh, we haven't made broken cards in a while, guys. We got this figured out. Where it's just like, Fury, the One Ring, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, yeah. Or just like a
Up the
Oko,
beanstalk even. Like,
Oko, Uro. Keep going down the list. How many sets back can we go in a row?
Omnath.
On math.
Uh,
Triumphs.
so another big point that I wanted to make was, does Wizards of the Coast really want to be in a position where every single thing that they do, they have to explain themselves? They've lost so much faith in everybody that every product launch, every change, nobody trusts you. You have to have this video going, hey guys, it's not falling apart. Let me explain why in sometimes a twisted way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And I'm also lost a lot of faith in some Magic players that just fall for some of this shit. But
yeah, I mean, I really lost a lot of faith when they did the fireside chat, and I didn't watch it personally, but I literally heard nothing but that it was just totally nothing. Like that it was basically the CEO going, everything's fine. We're still making money. Booyah, keep going.
I mean, there's two things about that. A, it wasn't for us.
Yeah.
It was not for you and me.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the customer. It was for the stockholder.
Yeah.
I don't. They did not set expectations well, and they. And the second point is they should not have done that.
Yeah.
That just hurt them.
Yeah. Because I just, to me at least, it completely damaged their integrity and made it feel like, okay, whatever you put out now is just, you don't really care. This is kind of the unmasking of the corporate face of where, it's pushed by profit. Like, there's nothing else to say about it besides that. So,
right before you're coming on, I was pulling something up, and there's this guy who writes books, leadership books. His name's Simon Sinek, and
I watched a couple of his videos.
Oh yeah? Okay. So he I think he got his start, like his big bang came from his TED Talk.
Yeah.
Where he has a whiteboard or a piece of paper and he writes 3 circles in like a bullseye. And on the outside it's what we make. And then in the inside circle it's how we make it, and then in the bullseye it's why we do it. And he gives examples of like why you buy Apple products is I wish I just pull it up and have him say it, but it's like advertisement for Apple goes something like, we're innovators. We believe in challenging the status quo. We like to form our own culture. We happen to make computers. Do you want to buy one? Versus like a Dell or HP going, we make computers. We have very efficient factories that make the computers. We do it because we love to produce computers. Would you like to buy one? And I know I kind of switched around the language there, but the first one has a bigger emotional hit in it. It's speaking to who you are personally, not just what your need or the feature you're looking for at the time is. And I feel like Wizards used to go from the why, like they would sell with, hey, and they wouldn't be explicit about it. It's not like that commercials like Apple trying to explain this, but it was kind of, we're nerds just like you. We love this game. We happen to make booster packs. Do you want to buy some? And now it's, here is our collector pack. We make them because of these market conditions. Why? Because kind of we're a corporation. We need to make money.
Yeah.
It's lost all of its soul. Instead of having this actual culture of like this nerd culture where the card stores are a safe place for people to go, they corporatized it, and now it's no longer it still feels like that, especially at ours.
Mhm.
But it's also you guys have perverted it to a like.
I do think there's a good portion, or like there's some portion of it where, they're like introducing this and this, and I'm just like, really, who asked for this? Or just parts of it where it's just like, okay, what, like, who asked for this? Like, what's the purpose of this? And yeah, there is that kind of emotional connection that's lacking, like you said, like the core belief, like why we do it, that
Mhm.
that connection to, like, I know maybe one or two names of Wizards employees because I don't really care enough about them. And that says something, especially when I consume, of a huge amount of Magic on a regular basis. Like, if you're not connected with a company because you don't care, like that, there's some emotional lacking there, and that just creates more division between your customers who are also your player base and your company that's supposed to be, supporting that. Because if they break that connection, if it fully breaks, like, which for a lot of people it is, they'll just be done. Like, they'll find something else to do.
Yeah, going back to specifically Aaron Forsyth, like, keep picking on him.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I know for a fact, like, it's not like people at Wizards get original. I don't know how much they get paid anymore, but they used to. It used to kind of be a joke. Their pay because you're getting compensated. You're living the dream. You're designing the game,
Yeah.
and you had to love it to a certain extent in order to be there.
Right.
And the lack of these monetary pressures showed that like these guys just want to make the best game for you.
Mm.
And now it's been mixed up, and I'm sure it's still there. There's no doubt in my mind like Mark Rosewater does want to make the best game for us. But is it to provide the best game for us, or is it uh to just have that out there, have that new cool creative thing out there, or is it because my boss is on my ass and I have to make sales. And if
Yeah.
I don't make a good set, you're not gonna buy it, and then we're screwed. Which you guys as in Wizards of the Coast have used that in justifications on MTG daily videos. You've like explicitly said that, so that's not a big reach either. So
Mm-hmm.
it and I don't know. I just the price point. I don't like I couldn't enter in. I don't feel wanted as a customer anymore. Between that, I feel like my demographic as a player is getting completely pushed out, or just pushed to arena specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That
yeah.
is that is the thing too, that I think, Arena has provided like a great free to play opportunity for a lot of people, but the downside of it is people look at it and just go, well, why wouldn't I just play Arena? It's free to play, and especially with the rising price of paper Magic, like the lowest price booster boxes are gonna double in price
Yeah, just about.
almost. Like it. Yeah, it is pretty hard to justify that, like, that price point, when what we have now is, especially with the rate at stuff is that it's released, it's almost impossible to keep up at times. So.
Yeah, I've lost the momentum of keeping up.
Mm.
Now I'm just kind of, and I feel like a lot of people are just waiting around, waiting for that card to get banned, waiting for something to happen,
Yeah.
this miracle, and I just
There is a lot of waiting. I do notice that. I feel like, it's like there's nothing that's like hot right now.
Mhm.
There's nothing that's, like startlingly doing well or has really good numbers in Magic. Like, they're none of the formats are like largely appealing in some way, shape, or form. And there's, I don't know. Yeah, it just feels kind of stale, and it's everyone's like burnt out a little bit.
Mhm.
This is just kind of the icing on the cake, where it's like, well, let's shit, what's next?
I don't see these new like, and I believe that their numbers are going up, especially with all of the products reaching out to other untapped fan bases,
Mhm.
and but I don't see them staying forever. They're one and done's. Oh, you did my cool thing. I got the 10th doctor. I'm happy now.
Yep.
We'll close the book on that.
Yep.
And you're getting those one time pop customers for people who are everlasting and loyal to the brand.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, the
It's
loyalty's completely faded.
it's like they're trying to reach bigger numbers, right, and more people by covering a higher variety of brands, but they're alienating the core of their brand,
Mm-hmm.
which is the magic in the game itself. Like I don't know. It's just they've been very weird and picky about what they print and what sets too, and it's just like the Doctor Who stuff. There was nothing in that entire set that I was just like, yeah, this is a banger card, like nothing like any of the other universes beyond sets where
What
you look at them and you're just like, this card's amazing. Like this is a good all around card for, so this in this situation, you see that in like the 40K decks and
Oh, sure.
of
Okay.
course
That's a good comparison.
uh what's it called, Lord of the Rings. That's totally different though because it's
Mm-hmm.
a modern set, but it's just like the power level didn't seem to meet the 40K one, and that just kind of confused me. Where it's like, how are they gonna, like what? Why are they picking it like this? Like, what's the deal? I don't know, but I just noticed a lack.
Oh, Michael's here.
What did you say?
Hi.
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 Hi. Oh, you just missed quite a long rant on play boosters, Michael. So, but yeah, I'm kind of arguing about the power level of decks and reprints and
The discrepancy in power level of like commander deck or in
yeah,
yeah, there was at least that new like Teferi's protection card that really stands out. And then
that's true.
they printed a lot of lands and like the Modern Horizon lands, which I thought was a little too early for that.
They only did Sunbathed Canyon and Fire Islet, just those two.
Oh, okay. And then
Just those two.
there were some other ones like Deserted Beach and
Yeah,
things like that.
I will say the lands reprint was pretty heavy. They had a couple of the temples that were reprinted. A couple, they're the dual lands that check if two or more basics are on the field,
Mm-hmm.
like Prairie Stream, and they did the cycling ones. So they did Fetid Pool and Irrigated Farmland, and I think one more, Scattered Grove, the green white one. So their lands were pretty well. And I will say that I don't know if this is to say something about the power level of Commander or not, but the decks too have been a lot more pushed where they have like this deck came with swords and path, ponder and preordain in in
Commons.
but like they haven't printed those.
No fetch lands, no nothing with reprint equity.
Yes.
Not really.
Yeah.
Here's the price of the deck. We're gonna look at TCG market. We're gonna put that into TCG player, and as long as it comes out as exactly that price, ship it.
Yeah.
And then another thing that when it comes to the play pack, this would be my last point, and then we'll move on to actual modern things. Here's one, yeah. They print the rarity symbol on the cards, guys. Like it's false scarcity. They decide what gets the gold stamp, what gets the silver, what gets the black, and even up to this point, your concept of rarity is completely thrown out the window.
Doesn't matter.
With set boosters already in collector boosters, there are some there might be uncommons that are rarer than rares in sets at this point. When you have Dragon Rage Channeler that can only show up in one slot in the collector booster pack, whereas you get rares that can show up in like three slots. Which one's rare at this point?
Yep.
And I mean, I don't have the exact math calculated,
But you
but
guys
either
opened,
way,
you guys
either
opened a
way,
lot of MH2 collector boosters, right?
I will say that we opened. I helped open over 2 cases of that product, and every single Dragon Rage Channeler of set boosters, every single Dragon Rage Channeler that I opened was right next to a Fast and Furious. Every single one. So if that doesn't, that kind of indicates that that shit is mappable.
Yeah.
There's not randomness to it.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can even see that in the mythics too. Like now, even now at this point, I think there are mythics where it's like, you know, you have a top and a bottom every single time. Like Ragavan versus, it's like a low mythic. I can't think of like a cheap mythic in that set off the top of my head. But you know, Ragavan, it's like I probably opened 3, 4, maybe five or 6 boxes worth of MH2 over the course of my time, and never opened a single Ragavan, not one. Opened every other card in that entire set, every single one except for Ragavan.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that they're doing short prints. I don't believe they're really doing that. Like Up the Beanstalk. I haven't got one. All I've been opening is
Wilds of Eldraine.
Wilds of Eldraine.
But I mean, it's what you're talking about, right? Like the scarcity. It doesn't matter. They pick what cards are the scarcest and what cards are the most expensive.
Yep.
They get to make those decisions because they make the product. So.
Yeah, and the employees, yeah, they release stupid cards, but those guys aren't stupid. That's one thing I'll definitely say is they're all there. They're all very intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be like, otherwise you get stuff like Felidar Guardians Healer Eye combo in standard.
Well, those people were. I give those people a lot of credit. They are very smart, but still, I mean, things happen, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not perfect either.
No.
So right before I was leaving work to come here to set up and everything, and I came across a video of, I forget, it's Card Market Magic. They're making a versus series where it's the players voted on these like Magic decks, modern decks that they wanted to see play against each other.
Yeah.
And then I think they're doing a bracket where they all play each other and see who's the best.
Yeah.
And right here they have like Jund versus Bloom Titan. So it's usually like the best version of the deck, even though they put Blightning in their Jund deck. That was just stupid. Death Shadow versus Eldrazi winner. Urza Oko versus 12 Post. Hogak versus Rakdos Scam. That's just a horrible matchup right there. Jund mid range versus Eldrazi winner. And they're playing matches, and they're like 15 to 25 minutes long each episode. And that was something we kind of kicked around the idea of.
Yeah. I would not mind like doing sort of a what if series because, you know, especially you have almost all of Modern collected, and across both of us, like we could have quite a few interesting matchups with different eras because there's all sorts of like, I'd love to see, you know, what was one like Affinity versus, I don't know, but just seeing the cross time matchups and just seeing how they would interact would be super interesting.
See how the new cards just beat the shit out of the old cards.
Yeah, pit Rakdos Scam against the history of Magic and see how it ties out against it, or history of Modern. So
I don't know if they're they're good. They're definitely very good players, but I don't know if they're crunching enough numbers to really claim who's the best.
You get the well, and obviously the deck can only take you so far. Like the piloting can take you further too.
Mm-hmm.
Where, excuse me, jeez, some people could pilot like Jun to success almost every single time, but some people could not pilot Scam to success every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So
They might just be unlucky and not get the land in a grief in the opening.
yeah,
You know?
the turn one double thought sees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just thought that was interesting to bring up because I think those guys are looking. Everybody's looking at modern. Everybody's looking at modern and go, "It's this isn't what we want." Pleasant Kenobi. I'm pretty sure the professor said it. Uh, these guys, why are they going backwards in time, Watsy? People are looking for the glory days. They're not looking for what you're providing, what you're selling.
yep.
Um,
Yeah,
it's pretty telling.
when was the last like mainline modern tournament we had?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we
Recently?
have them every quarter, like pretty
Yeah.
much every quarter.
Yeah, I just mean what was the last one that like got real big, you know?
That
That
a box that like weird. I mean, there's the RCQs.
the
Or
only tournament I could think of hearing about recently for modern that I was like I'm interested in that. I think that would be like, it's like, oh, sweet tournament, modern tournament was the one I participated in Vegas, the 30th anniversary one for the beta draft. And
yeah,
it's like, other than that, the last time I cared about a modern tournament was when I played like probably late 2018.
mm-hmm.
It just they're like modern has definitely stagnated out with MH1 and MH2. It just doesn't feel as impactful as it did.
I think the cash tournaments have hurt it. It's just not. It's not as fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of bland. Back when it was like more risque to do it, yeah, it was it was cooler. But now it's like every tournament has a cash prize, and it's just
Yeah,
boring now.
yeah,
Um, and the the PTQ system used to be like somebody here is going to the pro tour. Like this is the event. Now you go to one and it's just like, oh, you're going to a tournament and that you're gonna have to travel to maybe to also have to do well there and it's just like there's so many loopholes that it's I don't know, it's not motivating to me.
yeah. And the prize selection is like it feels like there's less interest and more dwindling interest in it. At least like now, I just see that a lot of it's like the oversized cards, or
Mm-hmm.
you can get uncut sheets occasionally, but I don't know. It just seems like there's less of that. Maybe I could be wrong. Less haven't been to as many tournaments recently, but
Yeah, true. The I think if I was at Wizards of the Coast, I'd be trying to. It's hard because you can't just take away cash tournaments, but it's also like they are can directly competing with any price support that you could have.
mm-hmm.
It's you have to calculate the added margin of a card store taking in whatever you're giving them. So like you have to give them over 70% more, like on face value, so they can go off it to the card store and get that cash to get it. And that's just a break even.
Yeah,
And it's hard for them to come up with that price point.
right.
Uh,
Should we jump into
yeah, let's do it.
whatever you're on?
Finally get into. Oh yeah, by the way, if anybody wants to magic buy a whole modern collection, let me know. Seriously, serious inquiries only, please. Oh no, I think I just messed up. All right, there we go. And I haven't watched any of these tournaments. Most of the stuff that I've been watching is just like newer modern things this week
Yeah.
from the 40-minute rant. I'm sure you guys can tell. Uh, first Grand Prix of the year, Grand Prix Omaha.
January 10th, 2015.
So you see uh, Blue Red Delver still kicking around. There's two in the top eight. This is a pretty diverse top eight.
Yeah.
If I was watching, I'd be like, huh, format's pretty healthy here.
Birthing Pod, we see Bloom Titan showing up again, or once again, I think. I think we saw it for the first time last week.
Yeah.
Oh, like the pretty close form of it. And this is the first time we see it in like pretty much this full glory here.
This
Summer Bloom, Hive Mind, Amulets, everything. So
the Pro Tour this year coming up in a few tournaments. This is where it really shines. This is where it's like, boom,
yeah,
Amulets on the map.
Yep.
But sure, Merfolk. There's
cool.
I think Merfolk wins a GP.
Oh really?
If I remember correctly. So that's fun. I like hearing the professor talk about Merfolk. It's kind of just a joke anymore of like, he was gonna take that old thing. But it's cool to see that it actually performed.
Yeah.
If it won a Grand Prix back in the day, it's a real deck.
I mean, they really tried with MH2, and it kicked around for quite a while, but it hasn't done well at the moment, obviously. Mm-hmm. So
how can you with Fury and Solitude?
Yep, and Bowmasters.
There's like perverted versions of Merfolk now where it's playing just like the 3-mana legendary Merfolk from the Modern Horizons set.
Sphaloon, yeah.
And then like Subtlety, it's playing all these hate cards and then ways to come back.
Yeah.
But it has some cards that resemble Merfolk. I mean, Treasure Cruise, that deck right here.
Yep.
I still haven't learned this. Gitaxian Probe does not get banned this year. I haven't learned that yet.
Wow.
Takes Death Shadow. So I wonder.
4 Goblin Guides. Interesting.
Oh yeah, this is a very aggressive build. This one's less.
Running Snapcasters instead.
They're cutting the Young Pyromancers on that list.
Oh.
I'm curious if anybody tried Death Shadow in this build at the time.
Oh, like the red blue with like a splash of black for Death Shadow.
Yeah, with Treasure Cruise because you get Gitaxian Probe. Yep. You get Street Wraith.
Yep.
You get all of you. You want to shock Thought as fast as early. You can force their hand with Thought Seize in the black. Mm-hmm. I'm a little surprised it didn't do that well. Like it didn't show up. It was all red blue.
Yeah.
Whereas, why play Mana Leak as a reactive spell when you can just play Thought Seize into your 1-drop card, and then you're for 1 less mana, you're loading you're guaranteed loading your bin, maybe ripping their Treasure Cruise, and then you're going off. Mm-hmm. If we ever do like a play, like a historic play, go back in the day and play.
Death Shadow.
I really think this is a good time frame for us to play Death Shadow and really test that versus like these builds.
Yeah.
I think it slots really well.
Let's see, Cons was out by this point too, so
came out last year.
Yeah, so the other cards you like that you could easily include would be Gurmag Angler and
a little less
Ferocious Denial or Fierce Denial. What's the Denial card? It's the Force Spike, Ferocious, counter it instead.
Oh, Stubborn Denial.
Stubborn Denial, yes.
Yeah, so he definitely could be using Stubborn Denial.
Yep.
But the Gurmag Angler is gonna be predatory.
Forge
is gonna be predatory to your Treasure Cruise.
Oh, true.
So you don't want to do it.
Oh,
and I guess Gurmag Angler is in the next set. Yeah. Tron.
I
fighting
doubt
the
this
good
deck's
fight.
Changed. Nope. Same deck list as like it's had for the last 3 years.
I'm curious about this Zoo deck. So Anafenza's pretty hot. A good deck.
Sea Tyrannos.
Very high power level on each individual card.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back here.
That's like the creature multicolor deck. Like humans, it's 5-color. That one's kind of Abzan.
Was that what Running Pillar of Prawns or whatever? Nope. All fetch shock. Because this deck could have been running that card.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if it could have. Because it's a lot of 1-drops that you need to have that mana for. And then here we go. Ban. January 19th, 2015. Treasure Cruise, Dig Through Time, and Birthing Pod.
It's a huge shakeup in Modern for this.
And
Whoa, was there an unban too? Scroll up real quick.
no.
Oh, okay. This.
Oh, wait.
Formats.
No. Golgari Grave Troll is no longer banned.
So we missed that. Yeah.
I missed that.
Troll got unbanned at the same time as Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, and Birthing Pod got banned.
That was a Yeah, I mean, that's a mistake, and they're going to learn from that. You don't see Dredge like at all. I don't think we've seen Dredge in any top 8.
Yeah.
So I think this was them going, oh, I mean, it's not even a deck. Why not give it a little tool, you know?
Yeah.
And boom, break it. Golgari Grave Troll gets unbanned. That's very relevant as well.
Yeah. And I mean, Treasure Cruise right away not only gets banned in Modern, but gets banned in Legacy at the same time and restricted in Vintage at the exact same time. So, like, every deck just picked this card up all at once, and then it all just went away.
If that doesn't tell you the power level of a card, I don't know what. What does.
Yeah.
And then, Dig Through Time was just going to slot in for the Treasure Cruises. That was a good call. And then Birthing Pod was still competing with Treasure Cruise.
Yeah.
We saw that in the last episode last year, 2014.
We did kind of talk about how potentially there could have been some sort of interplay where, like, dropping Birthing Pod out made Twin too powerful, and that took over the meta after this.
It definitely did.
So,
Birthing Pod was the other deck that you could choose that had that combo, but it would also could play kind of a mid-rangey value strategy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those players who were playing Birthing Pod, those very experienced good players, went directly to Twin.
Yeah.
And that's when Twin got its reputation of just being too good.
Yeah.
Because you had this huge pool of players that just
they wanted to play their combo pile.
Boom, here we go. Even in I think that's how it played out in retrospect, but that's if I'm a player, I'm this good player, and I have this pool of cards, none of those cards go into the Splitter Twin deck.
Yep.
I'm completely hard pivoting to this deck. So how many of those players did we lose on that banning?
Yep.
Because the Delver players hypothetically could still turn those cards into Splitter Twin cards. Golgari Grave Troll.
I'm really curious to see what these next couple look like.
I looked through them a little bit as I was like pulling them up. So this is going to be a surprise for both of us.
So January 23rd then, so several days after the ban announcement, we get Fate Reforged dropping. Right away, any big notable ones? I mean, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, immediately in Tron, like, God, so many times gotten killed by an Ugin, so many times against Tron.
For Modern, that has been it's one of the most impactful cards that one has seen play even almost to this day.
Monastery Mentor, that one's pretty huge. Not just for Modern, but I think more so Legacy.
Definitely.
Gurmag Angler is pretty big for Modern. Temur Battle Rage, that definitely helped pull together Death Shadow quite a bit.
The threat of the Temur Battle Rage killed many. Just the being afraid of it killed you more than the card itself.
Oh, yeah.
But Gurmag, I think we talked about it a little bit, where it was like everybody played Tasigur at the beginning.
Yeah.
Of this format, and then that completely went away, and people play Gurmag Angler.
Yeah.
Like nobody even talks about Tasigur at this point, except Canadian Highlander players. I played that. When I played that, I was like, forgot about it. I didn't forget about it, but I was also like, I'm okay with playing this card again.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
It is. I think that card's way cooler and more spicier, and people people identify with that card way more than Gurmag Angler, which is just some fucking zombie fish. And it's just like, it sucks that the Gurmag Angler is like pushing out this really cool card that I know a lot of people like. Just like, it's just a really good spot, a good, I would almost say a good power level. It's a very push card.
Oh yeah, no, I think Tasigur is like a one of those cards that's impressive as a threat when you're staring it down, but the value it provides is not over the top. It's like it is just it kind of treads that fine line where it's like it's a 4/5 body, very hard to remove. It has selective card advantage, but it's not card advantage that's like strict. You know, it's not like draw a card or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's in your opponent's control.
Yeah.
The strong majority of the time.
Right, and that's the fantastic part about him is that you can play around that really well. So you can force your opponents to be like, all right, you got to pick one of the lesser of two evils here.
Mhm.
So yeah, cards that card design, I think in that regard, Tasigur is a very notable card, and I've even loved playing against him when Brandon would play him often as a commander,
Oh, sure, yeah.
and that was even fun because Tasigur would never felt awfully over the top as a commander. It was just like it's a threat, but you know it is treading that fine line where like you can deal with it and it's just fun interactive magic.
I also
So
like the fact that it is legendary, so you're not like, oh, my opponent has 3 Gurmag Anglers. What do how do I win this game? And
yeah,
it cuts down on how many copies are played in a deck. Usually, you
hmm
only play like 2, so yeah, you had them in there, but it's not like you saw them constantly like Gurmag Angler, where you're digging for that card. You're trying to jam that card and then just kill them with it.
right, right. So then we go into Pro Tour of Fate Reforged on February 8th, which
Twin. Why did Twin have to win this? I kind of wish Amulet Titan won. Even so, I watched this whole top 8
uh-huh.
when I was on vacation, and I was rooting for anybody that was playing against Amulet Titan, and I didn't know. I knew he did really well. I didn't know if he won it or got second,
Yeah.
but I was like, yeah, fuck Amulet, fuck at any cost. And maybe now in retrospect, I'm like, shit. Maybe this is what pushed Twin to get banned and Amulet's still around.
Yeah, yeah, was the top seat going to X-Arc here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is pretty standard list as what we've seen before.
Less
Um,
Pester Mites then.
yeah,
It starts to evolve towards the more Pester Mites, I think. That's my prediction. That's like me and my friends, that's what we ended up doing is
yeah,
adding Black, Kolaghan's Command, Tasigur, and then going more aggressive with the Pester
okay,
Mites.
yeah,
I mean, this was the most tuned version of Titan at the time. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
very explosive, very over the top. Like, I think it's crazy that the deck played 3 Hive Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had no clue. That's so gimmicky that they were just like, I'm gonna cast Summoner's Pact. You're gonna cast Summoner's Pact. I'm gonna pass the turn.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Got Manamorphose in your hand.
yeah,
The story behind this is Justin Cohen was best friend or roommates at least with Sam Black, and all they did was prepare for this tournament.
yeah.
Like Justin queued, I bet off of a PTQ, and he's just like, I like hanging out with Sam, and if Sam wants to play Magic, I'm gonna play Magic, and that's like, I have a lot of friendships where the whole friendship is predicated around us all playing Magic.
Oh yeah.
It's another thing that kind of stabs me a little is like, as the game deteriorates, those people leave, and I don't see them as often, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if he's even. I don't haven't heard of that name in forever.
Yeah.
Despite this pro tour, and I'm sure he played a little bit, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Abzan does really well here.
Yep. Go figure. Four Siege Rhinos, 2 Tassigurs.
So the ban announcement was the 19th, and then the pro tour. The pro tour was the 23rd. They had 4 days.
4 days from the ban announcement.
How
Wow.
did they had to have given them prior announcement, right?
Well, this was
Oh,
on
it's a month and 4 days. Wait.
a little less than a month because it's February 8th.
Oh,
in
okay,
the Pro
okay.
Tour.
I'm sorry, I was reading
But Fate
the wrong
Reforged
things.
dropped 3 days after the ban announcement. So
But so the ban announcement, new set into the Pro Tour. That's a lot of information to intake before the Pro Tour.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of time. There was like maybe a week or 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So I can't imagine being like having a deck together and then it being pot or something like that, and then just falling apart.
All of the cards were probably spoiled by the time the BNR came out. The ban and restricted. So they had they had 3 weeks with it, and I don't know when they have to now submit their decks or how that used to play out for Pro Tours. I'm guessing it was the day of paper.
Probably
paper day of.
Yep.
Here you go, Tessiger, our boy, Siege Rhino, starting to do its damage.
Mm-hmm.
The card that pushed pot out.
Playing the this is very nostalgic looking for me because I remember one night I think you played an Abzan kind of mid-rangey control-ish deck, and I was like, man, that deck was just looks sweet. It was like Lingering Souls, Lily out of the Last Hope. Oh god, I can't even remember what else off the top of my head.
Goyf.
Yeah, Goyf, Bobs, and I was just like, that's like a deck list I want to put together for Modern, and I love seeing, just some of the older cards like Lingering Souls being played and Thoughtseize and Path, and obviously Goyf Rhinos is cool. Scavenging Ooze, like having two of those main board, you don't see that anymore. So
did I tell you the story of when I got my Goyfs, the first FNM after that?
Mm-hmm.
So it was when Goyfs were $200 a piece.
Yeah.
I traded in a bunch of shit, got my Terma Goyfs. I already had Bobs, Lilies, all that kind of stuff. The Goyfs were the last piece. That was back in the day. Went to play FNM. I went 0-4. I was so goddamn demoralized. I like, and yeah, I like even then I'm like, yeah, just because you buy these expensive cards doesn't mean you're gonna actually have like a bigger percentage chance. And maybe that was going in my subconscious some, but just going 0-4 after buying Termagoyfs and I had over $1,000 worth of cards on the table, and when I lost one of the games, and I was just like, how the fuck did this happen? I was like, what am I doing? Why did I get these? Why did I get these cards?
Why am I playing this stupid ass game?
No, it wasn't that. It was like, why did I pay $200 for a fucking card when I can't even win with it?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not as good as they told you it was, boys.
Yeah.
And that one, I lost to some deck with doubling season and the Jace from RTR.
That's hilarious.
So he like plays doubling season into the Jace. The Jace automatically ults, gets more Jaces, steals my Goyfs, and just weird shit like that. And I remember I thought seized him. Thought seized his Jace away when he had doubling season. Top decks the next one, goes off, kills me. And I was like, I should have fucking crushed you. I don't know how this happened.
I paid $200 for my Goyf. I should have crushed you. Should have beat you to death with this $200 bill.
$1,000 worth of cards on the table, and I'm like sitting there like.
It makes me think there was one of the old memes I remember seeing was this meme about like it was like a guy like honey, I bought a new deck, and she's like, oh yeah, great, I can't wait to sit on it, blah blah blah, and he's like, yeah, and he's holding up 3 foil future sight Goyfs.
I bought a new deck. Yeah, so this, I think I think I dropped mid-range at that point. Like, I was just so demoralized. And then I came back to it, and this was closer to the build that I did. And when I played it this next time, I really liked it. I loved this style of deck. I felt like all of my wins were earned. Yeah. Like, I won because I was making the right decisions, and I was lining up some conditional things or picking the right card with the
Mm-hmm.
discard and using my lilies in an appropriate manner, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I really saw like these weird margins paying off. Another twin list. You see these Abzan decks pack in like, oh, this one's different.
This one's not
Wow.
running no lilies. It's running Wilt Leaf Liege instead, and Loxodon Smiters. So for like the counter lily play, I guess.
I think if I remember what they said at the Pro Tour on the coverage, Brian Kibler designed this deck, or they both came up with it independently, and then they like talked and they're like, "Oh, look, we came up with the same deck."
Yeah.
This makes a lot of sense with a bunch of lilies running around. This doesn't seem that great against twin.
Yeah.
No, I mean, 1, 2. Um, they have like 8 answers to twin.
Mm-hmm.
That's not horrible. I probably wouldn't have played this list. I would have played something more like this. And it has 4 abrupt decays.
Yeah. I think the Thoughtseize is too. It's running 4 Thoughtseize. Okay, this one's different. Got a Batter Skull on the main board, so a little bit of Blue Moon tech there.
Noble Hierarch. Did this one play Noble Hunter?
Don't think so.
Nope. Way heavier on the instants and sorceries. 12 creatures is not a lot.
So definitely actually some diverse Abzan decks here, but Abzan in general, just Siege Rhino, it seems like really people are really wanting to play Siege Rhino at this time. I mean, I can't blame them. It's a huge body with an amazing ETB trigger. So
I wasn't very hard on that card, or I wasn't very high on that card when it came out. I was like, Moose loved this card.
Yeah.
This might be Moose's favorite card.
oh,
Like,
I've watched him play it, and like he's built his own just creature pile decks, and he runs there's like the angel that's got haste and flying.
Is it Lightning Angel?
I think so. Lightning
Yeah.
Angel and like Siege Rhino and just other really fast beat multicolored creatures. Like
If Lightning Angel had Flash instead of haste, might have been a real deal.
yeah.
Or it doesn't have lifelink, does it?
Maybe.
I think it has like flying, vigilance, haste.
I'm not sure.
Then 2 burn decks. This is, I mean, here you go, Michael.
Boros Burn. Still got the shard volleys. I mean, but this is.
I mean, this is the almost the exact number count. Instants and sorceries, lands, and creatures. These numbers don't change much.
No.
This drops 1, and
I was gonna say you could see it maybe go between 17 to 20 lands, maybe.
Yeah.
With very little variety, but yeah, the Eidolons are still there. Goblin Guides, Swift Spears, Boros Charm, Lava Spike, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Helix, Rift Bolt, Searing Blaze, Skull Crack. Like this is Burn. Burn is here and it's here to stay.
Yeah, I watched this Pro Tour, at least the top 8, and it wasn't. It was a lot of kind of rooting for Justin, and that's all it really was. It wasn't my favorite time of play, but like watching Abzan and seeing like an evolution of the meta game where people are playing Wilt Leaf Liege and Loxodon Smiter to combat Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah,
is pretty interesting. Grand Prix Vancouver.
So Twin Exarch takes first place in this one again.
I think it's the exact Pro Tour list.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lands might be a tad different because the
running snaps and V clicks in this one, so it's a little bit different. Affinity in second place.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
This deck list has barely changed at all since the last time we saw it. Maybe just number counts. I think that's about it.
Yeah, Bloom Titan is really starting to pop up, and it makes sense with Summer Bloom. I mean, some of the plays with Summer Bloom were super, super, super degenerate. It truly enabled a fairly consistent turn 2 win with this deck.
Oh, absolutely.
Had to go.
Especially like considering what you can do even just now with like an Azusa and an amulet or 2. Especially if you have 2 amulets or God, I dare say more amulets. If you have more than two amulets and you can play more than two lands a turn, you're winning. You are winning that turn
Well, it's
with
like
this deck.
Urza Saga in this deck now is a tutor and an alternate win condition.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I can't imagine what this deck would do if it had Summer Bloom now.
I'm not a huge fan of this deck existing as it is right now. It's kind of pushed out of the format because if we were to ask why was Solitude printed, I mean this would be my best answer.
Yep. Yep. Stop the Titan. Junk.
Yeah, this is the Abzan list that we saw from the Pro Tour.
Yep.
Just numbers are a little different.
It's
And
still
playing-
running a door in the Siege Tower.
Yeah, it's a little bit of spice.
Yep.
I thought this was a 0-6.
It's a 0-5.
It's a 0-5, yeah.
I guess it's a 5-5 for 3 in the technicality of it. So
Meh.
yeah.
Here we go. Is this our first showing of Hexproof?
I think so.
Oh, I nailed it. I wrote this down on our list, and I wasn't sure
Unflinching
if it ever was
Courage.
played.
Yeah, the life link. Slippery Boggles, Aura Hexproof, the Aura Hexproof deck. Glade Cover Scouts, Core Spirit Dancers, Boggles. Daybreak Coronet is really what pushed this over the edge. Oh, it made it a real deck.
This card, so this and Horizon Canopy were the only money in this deck.
Yeah.
Horizon Canopies, I'm guessing, spiked that or peaked at like $90 or close to it.
Yeah.
Because they were 4 of in this, and then you also played them in some capacity in some of the pod lists.
Mm-hmm.
But the Daybreak Cornet, this is the only deck that has and probably ever will play this card.
Yep.
And it was a rare from Future Sight, so it had a decent price tag.
Yeah. I was going to say, until the Iconic Masters reprint, and even after it, like Horizon Canopy and Daybreak Coronet were still money.
Mm-hmm.
Horizon Canopy especially.
Like the Canopy, yeah.
Being it of its only kind until MH1. So.
Mm-hmm. Another Titan list.
Mm-hmm.
Running Azusa's really going after the multiple land drops.
And this is like one of the earlier uses we see of Simian Spirit Guides. So.
And it's not even to ramp out the main card, aka Titan. It's to probably ramp in your Summer Blooms on turn 1 to
Yep.
or play a Amulet of Vigor on 1.
Yep.
Into something like.
Oh yeah, you pitch the Spirit Guide Amulet of Vigor, and then you can just play a bounce land.
Bounce land into Summer
Bloom.
Bounce. Prime time.
Yep.
GG.
Yeah.
Like good luck.
Yep.
So that's a turn 1, like turn 0 win.
It's a turn 1 prime time. You can put it
Or prime time.
You could easily you could just win turn 1, I think. You would have to have a second.
So ETBs, you get the +2/+0 and haste.
Summer Bloom gives you 3 additional ones, right? 3 additional.
Yeah.
Land
So
drops.
you can play that prime time. Prime time enters. You get the red, white bounce land, and the gives it +2/+0 and haste.
Oh, yep.
So then you attack. Then you get 2 more lands, but I don't know how you give it double strike from there. Because I thought the double strike cost 4.
Yeah, because you get to
But-
pay 4 for it.
Okay, it doesn't kill, but they're at 2. Good luck.
Yeah.
With a prime time
Yeah.
on the board.
Yeah.
And you're in.
Even then, like you're getting 2 land, you're going to get 4 lands ahead on turn 1, or no,
Mm.
7.
You only
7
will
lands
have 2 lands on the field, and they'll probably be both bounce lands.
Yep.
Yeah. Seems pretty good. In fact, we haven't seen much of it. It just kind of dwindles around. He's 8th place, close to 8th place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We see it pop. This is probably popping back up because of Become Immense as a 4 of showing up in there now.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, it does kind of seem like that was the thing that did it for the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if we will see, in fact, really be a deck. I know it did when Tom Martell picked the deck up and he won some like opens with it, but I don't know if that translated to Grand Prix victories.
Mm-hmm. So then March 27th.
Yeah, not much in between there. Big card collected company. When they banned Pod, the deck shifted to Coco.
Yep. This is Coco has got to be one of my favorite cards of all time. Like straight up, easily in the top 10 of my favorite cards ever printed. I love that card so much. Cast Coco, I probably more times than any other green card ever.
Oh, just green card? I thought you were gonna say any card.
No, no, just green cards. I cast more different cards, but
if you were to say what card do you think you've cast the most in Magic? Raw numbers.
Raw numbers, probably Path to Exile or Lightning Bolt.
I was gonna say Lightning Bolt's definitely mine.
Yeah, I think I've cast more Paths than I have Lightning Bolts, though.
My lands are definitely the Scalding Tarns.
Yep, mine are probably either my Windswept Heaths or my Verdants. I don't know, one of the two.
One of my favorite things.
Verdants I've played a lot more. Yeah. I think
one of my favorite things is going into a card store and thinking that there's a good chance that my Scalding Tarns are the cards that have seen the most physical play out of any card in that like card store or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Just literally raw, having it getting shuffled in your hand, kind of damage. That's what I like to see. Rending Volley, that was a hit to Twin, but when they can make it back up with Colligan's Command.
Colligan's Command is amazing. That card definitely shaved Modern for quite a while.
Big fan, yeah.
Yeah. Tarka's Command saw some interesting burn variants playing green because of this card. So, which is, I'm sure we might see a couple of those pop up in lists.
Yeah, the Wild Nikado builds.
Yeah, yeah. Zergo, did he see
barely
some play?
low and burn? Yeah.
Tormenting Voice. Now that's a kind of a dredge card.
Yeah, so that's I wrote that on there. I didn't know if it did actually ever get played, but yeah, it started building into that dredge archetype.
Yeah, yeah. Impact Tremors too. I think that's more of it seems more of a combo-y card, but I don't know if it's ever really seen a combo that can utilize it that well.
It's not a hard infinite combo, but it's Nor and the Weary decks.
Oh,
I think those played that card.
Oh, okay.
And I could be wrong. I just thought of that deck and I knew that it played Perforos, the original one. And then Ojutai's Command, I wrote that because I did just play that card in Modern. And it felt horrible. Don't do it. Even though we thought it was like the new Cryptic Command.
Yeah. There's a card in one of these sets that I feel like I didn't see. I can't remember what it's called. 1 white and X. It's an instant speed and it makes 1/1s.
Oh, Secure the Waste.
Secure the Waste.
Yeah.
I love that card. I love that card. I've won games in blue white control with that card.
I have lost games with that card at blue white red control.
Oh, I love that card. I think that card is. I've had so many opportunities where I'm just like Secure the Waste for 6 and jump block 3 of your dudes and then I just take back the game from there. But just love that instant speed. It's very simple card. Just instant speed dumps a bunch of 1/1s. So
yeah, I should have wrote that on the list. I knew it phased out really quick, but I'm trying to hit every card on my
right, of course, yeah. So Elves, interesting. In the top of this, this is the Grand Prix Charlotte 2015.
Elves has Coco. That was a big one for it. Elves has a lot of the good elf cards. Heritage Druid, specifically Nettle Sentinel. It doesn't have redundancy with the Heritage Druid effects like Legacy. And then it doesn't have the card advantage in like Natural Order or
Glimpse of Nature.
Glimpse of Nature, thank you.
Yep.
It dumps its mana into these override effect creatures.
But the Collected Company definitely gave it a good step up. They provided a lot of opportunity to a lot of these creature decks.
Mythos and Modern. Did I write that on my list? I should have.
Yeah, maybe not.
I think so. Twin. I mean, you're gonna see Twin in all these top 8s. If not, I'm gonna be blown away. It's playing Blood Moon in the main decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the deck to play.
I'm more excited about this next list, the third place list there. This is the first time we see Ad Nauseum.
I think so.
Yeah.
I knew a kid. Well, we both knew him. Who this is all he played.
Yep.
Forever.
Yeah.
Michael got by somebody playing this deck. The opponent used 2 of his Simian Spirit Guides, and I forget exactly how it played out, but his opponent did not have the mana to Lightning Storm him. He like grabbed his deck and he's like, you know how it works, and Michael's kind of like, I don't kind of, and he's like, yeah, like I Lightning Storm you, and he's like, oh, okay, and then afterwards I pull him aside. It's like, how is he gonna cast that Lightning Storm? And he's like, oh, he has Simian Spirit Guides. He's like, he already used 2 of them. He had no mana floating, no available mana.
Yeah,
it costs 3 mana, dude.
Yeah,
and he got him, but not happy with you, Michael.
Live and learn.
Lotus Bloom, that thing hasn't seen real play since these days.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much what we see out of the list for almost its entire existence.
Yes.
Except for the win con change. Like,
well, they banned Simian Spirit Guide, and the splash damage on this just completely nuked it.
Oh, yeah.
Are they playing the Lightning? Oh, yeah, Lightning Storm right here. Very weird card. When it's on the stack, it has an activated ability.
Yeah. Which I'm sure there was more than plenty of judge calls over that timing interaction.
Yeah, that, and it's like this card of lane card put 2. Yeah, this card is just really very weird, and it's like, does this make a stack while the text is being? I have no idea.
So yeah, it was interesting because I remember watching people play with it, and they're just like, I'll discard a land card. I'll discard a land card. I'll discard. You know, they did it one at a time because they were like, you know, trying to make sure they could resolve all the way to lethal, but then if they had to change the target or if they need to redeclare or something. So
I might have. Looking back, I completely, the fact that that's not even on my radar that you can do it.
Yeah,
I might have thrown some games away.
Yeah,
Probably not.
That card's weird as hell. So, you know, but this is interesting that we're seeing Ad Nauseum for the first time at this point. So
that card's in Cold Snap, not even Future Sight, or like sometimes Spiral Set.
Yeah.
Affinity, stock list.
Yeah.
Burn. That burn list looks like Affinity. Just kidding.
You gotta click on the name.
Yeah. Other than Grim Lavamancers that go, it's the stock list. This is spicy.
Oh, okay. So this is the first time we see like a Goryo's Vengeance deck, which they're playing Nourishing Shoals. So they're playing the variant that's just trying to like beat you out really early, like turn 2.
The Borborygmos in range. The famous Pithy Needle naming. There's a new Borborygmos comes out, and it has an
Borborygmos Enraged has the activated
ability. This one has activated ability, but the other one is just called Borborygmos. And the person plays Pithy Needle, naming Borborygmos, and this guy's playing this deck, goes boom, 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 does the combo, and the guy's like tapping at his Pithy Needle, and he's like, you named Borborygmos, dumbass, not Borborygmos Enraged. He wasn't that condescending, but it was also like...
It's like
You fucking played yourself, dude.
Yeah.
And everybody there knew exactly what he meant, and that's when the rulings changed happened.
Oh, and that's the first time in that deck that you see Nourishing Shoal Worldspine Worm. So they're trying to pitch the Worldspine Worm for the Nourishing Shoal life gain. And I mean, we see that again in the Allosaurus Shepherd deck, but besides this deck, there's not a lot of decks that have engaged with the Nourishing Shoal pitch to gain life strategy.
Did you watch this deck ever play out? It's kind of a combo deck.
I played against Riley when he played it.
Okay.
So yeah, it does. You're like, you get there or you don't. It is like the Allosaurus Rider Shepherd deck or the Neoform deck where you have the combo or you don't. Like it is very hit or miss.
Oh, you had a counter spell? Oh, I guess I just
I just lose.
go cry.
Yeah.
I don't know. Collected companies instead of birthing pods.
Mhm.
This evolved into a different deck that you're very familiar with.
Oh.
And then, so Pod's dead. Sam Pardee switches to Twin. Exactly what I was saying of these. You have these awesome Pod players.
Yeah.
What do they switch to? They
Twin.
switch to Twin. This is a Bing. I didn't know this. I just called it.
Yeah.
Blind called it. I'm really good. Copenhagen. So this like weekend. There's 3 modern GPs in a row.
In June. Wow.
Oh,
Here's
here we
Murpha.
go. Here we go.
Top list. Top of the list.
Remember when some of these cards were worth money?
Playing 4 Vial. I don't think the other list we saw was running 4 Vials. And then 4 Spreading Seas. I didn't see Vials on that list.
That had to have been. Pack bet? Question mark?
No. I'm not gonna pack bet on that, but I didn't think I saw. Oh, okay, there. Okay, alright. That one was only running 2 Spreading Seas though.
Our camera just died.
Oh, great. Great.
Well,
they can hear us at least.
Guess what? Most of you guys don't watch this for
Yeah. Yeah.
for our ugly faces. Well, at least mine. Let's see here. Where were we? We were
Copenhagen. GP Copenhagen.
Boom. Scape Shift. Seen it a few times tonight, but haven't really talked about it. Yeah. That's the deck, my dude.
Playing cryptic commands.
Let me spread this out then.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, cryptic commands, electrolyze. Hasn't really gained much, hasn't really lost much.
Yep.
Jun instead of Abzen. That's questionable.
Running Tassigers.
Hunt Master.
One of. This is running Kitchen Finks, so kind of a very, very weird mid-rangey build of this. 1 Bitter Boss on main board too.
Well, so I mentioned that that Versus series. One of them talks about how they went to the Pro Tour where Deathrite Shaman was legal in like Jun, and they were playing Kitchen Finks instead of Deathrite Shamans, and they're like, it did not end well. And so the Predatory Force, the Deathrite Shaman's gone, so
Yep.
Kitchen Finks can pop up again.
Yeah.
Murpho, dude, doubling up.
Again.
First and 4th place in this GP. It's the real fucking deal.
Cozy's Trickster.
Whenever an opponent shuffles their library, put a 1/1 counter on it.
Oh, that's kind of interesting counterplay.
I got it. Except for the May. I should have said May. Here we go. I did look at this list because this is I played this list. This exact list.
Oh, I bet this is a good list. Grixis Control. 3 Gurmags, 4 Snaps, 2 Tassigers, 3 Cryptics, 1 Dispel, 1 Electrolyze, 2 Golgon's Command, 4 Bolts, 2 Mana Leaks, 2 Remans, 4 Serum Visions, 2 Spell Snares, 2 Terminates, 2 Thought Scours.
Man, what a hell of a list.
Yeah.
I wish it was running 4 Golgon's Command and 4 Cryptic Commands, but hey, you don't get everything you want in life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's such a Lucas deck.
Oh, okay. This is interesting to see. Mono White Hate Bear. Modern. So 4th out, obviously the Thalia deck. 4th Thalia's. It's running Leonin Arbiter, Tech Edge, Ghost Quarter deal. So they're still trying to get away with that same thing back then.
Yeah, a little tricksy little hobbits is over here with the Ghost Quarter, Leon, and Arbiter.
Yep. Playing 4 Vials, 4 Paths, main board. Dryad Militant, that's pretty cool. Because I played that like in Canadian Highlander as because it's just a good 2/1 for 1. But I did not know it.
Closest I ever got to the Pro Tour was off the backs of this card. No joke.
Blight Splicer too. That's a good card.
Twin. Playing so it's playing Colgan's command.
Mm.
Not play what? Why aren't you playing Tassiger with this? 3 splitter twins in the main. It's a weird list.
Two
I don't like.
Inquisitions, but no Thoughtseizes.
Not
So
a huge fan of
interesting.
that.
Young Peasy. This
This
is, huh?
I think what they did is they're playing Grixis and instead of Treasure Cruiser running Tassigers and Gurmag and they can't make up their mind. Which,
Two Gurmags and two Taskers. That spread's a little weird, especially with 3 Pyromancers too.
they're sitting with a GP top 8 and we're sitting here
That's true. Yep.
talking about shit we don't know.
Yep.
All right, that was Copenhagen.
The last weekend of June, 2015,
Oofda.
Singapore. Affinity takes the top place and the second place. They're pretty close to the same list.
Yeah.
That one's running Galvanic Blasts and no Thought Cast, and this one's running Dispatch and Thought Cast. So, which I can see Dispatch. That I'm actually more surprised that didn't see as much play.
That's always blown me away
Yeah.
that card hasn't seen more play.
Yeah, because it's just a better path in that deck.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
just it's with this deck. I've never known it to not be just a straight exile your creature.
Yeah.
The fact that it didn't go upstairs, well, like the litmus test for the format was lightning bolt. Galvanic Blast did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you really need to path the exile? Why do you really need the exile effect in this deck? Whereas you can just go to face in this aggressive deck. So, like, to my knowledge, like everybody went down the Galvanic Blast route. That's the logic of why it didn't see much play.
Yeah. I mean, you could say something for the Galvanic Blast just being more utilitarian than the Dispatch too. So
Yeah, John. It's weird to like see these decks that kind of got neutered, just still doing well and floating around, and like these really weird build. This is a really weird build of it. You're running. Look how mana hungry this is. Fulminator Mage, Huntmaster, Olivia, into Colgan's commands. Like your curve starts at fucking 4.
Yeah.
It feels like it doesn't, but it's.
Yeah. The mana restriction's very heavy. Like you have a lot of dual colored cards in this. Lots and lots of mana symbols. So
Okay, all right. I say that. Let's see what Reed Duke's list is.
ooh.
Because you know that's the truth.
Yep.
Bob's, 1 Olivia.
1 Tassiger.
This is what I would be playing. Way closer to this.
Yep.
The Sandra, maybe, I don't know.
He's got 2 Colon's commands, so I can definitely see that. 4 Inquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. I like that actually.
He's playing more Inquisitions than Thoughtseize.
Mm-hmm.
He's not afraid of. He doesn't want to rip the Splitter Twin. He wants to rip the creature, I guess.
Yeah.
Heavy on Maelstrom pulls.
Well, you got to think about too with Coco running around as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just a straight stab at Coco. The Inquisition is. So.
Wait, no.
At what it can get. I mean.
Yeah, you want to rip the Coco with the Thoughtseize.
That's true. Well, he's got at least 1 sideboard too, so he is prepared to go all in on him.
Junk. Oh, it's a pretty good list. I like that. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Wrath of God. 2 Wrath of Gods. Interesting.
That's weird.
2 Murderous Cuts.
Abzan Charm. I don't know about this list.
Sigarda.
Oh, I guess instant speed draw 2 cards. Lose 2 life.
Yeah. Or it's got, 2 other modes.
Did you say main deck Sigarda?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This is a definite stab at Liliana here.
Yes, yeah. She's a brick house. I really like that card. I like the design. I like the way it looks.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a big fan. Podless Collected Company. Oh, this one's different.
Just running Static Caster and Mirror Kiki-Jiki. Revoker. It's like all one-ofs.
Yeah, it's like Silver Bullets, Kiki-Jiki, and Resto's in there. And then do you have Kitchen Finks Oh, you also have Deceiver, XR, Kiki Jiki.
But it's really just trying to go mid range with like a combo backup. It looks like.
Yeah, so the Kitchen Finks don't do anything other than they're very efficient, good cards.
Yeah.
You got Ewit getting back your Cocos. You've done that
Uh.
a few times.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like the whole beginning of your Magic career started on that.
Oh yeah.
He witnessed me do it one time,
I was like,
and this whole
yo.
life was written after.
So if Fauna Shaman was the grab, then Fauna Shaman gets like Kiki Jiki or Resto, and you combo with those two.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think like Fauna Shaman ever did saw real modern play, but here it is.
Yeah.
Hooting Mandrills was let's see, Stubborn Denial.
There it is.
This is a pretty good deck. This is I think one of the first appearance or no, one of the first pro tours this had this was played. Yeah. But I played a very similar list to this with Uros at one point, but I was running 4 Disrupting Shoals and probably 4 Pack the Negation.
Yeah.
Just because protect the Uro at all costs, and
Yeah,
you'll get that card advantage back. Stubborn Denial. I think this is its first appearance.
Yep.
UA. Oh, it's a different UA.
Twin Exarch with Hunt Masters.
And Goif, so.
Yep. So what do we call it?
Turbo Twin
Turbo
almost.
Twin.
Yeah. At this time I'd really rather be playing at the instant speed with Colgan's commands.
Yeah.
You could really play a fun tempo game with that.
Yeah.
All right, Magic Origin. Jace Friends Prodigy, $90 card in Standard.
Woof.
Because of Standard.
Yeah, that card is still good to this day. I played it in several decks. Love it.
Yeah, I had my playset back then. I wasn't really playing modern or Standard at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I barely played the card. I play with it in Cube a lot.
Yeah.
With any Reanimator deck, it's a high pick for me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hollow Moonlight's getting played nowadays.
Oh yeah, that's the counter for a little bit of a counter for this game deck.
Days Undoing, and then Hangerback Walker is a very big addition to this set.
Yes, especially for the hardened scales build of Affinity that's going to come up in the future.
It was a unique design for the time.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see a lot of cards in that manner. Like you look back to like antiquities, you see Triskelion. Yeah, Triskelion. And this is like their first push of Triskelion style effects. This is what started Walking Ballista.
Right. This is the Walking Ballista before Walking Ballista.
They did this and they're like, okay, now let's make it an aggressive card. Let's have them not defensive, but aggressive.
Days Undoing I played just a couple weeks ago. That card's great, especially with Nissa. Or Narset. Predator Veils.
Yeah.
Narset Predator Veils.
I remember when I thought it did. I didn't realize it said if this was played on your opponent's turn, it does not say end the turn. So I was like upkeeping with Teferi on the field. I plus Teferi, upkeep, end your turn, in wheel.
Yeah.
And then eventually someone's like, dude, that card says that doesn't work like that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It ends the turn, dude. Yeah, I was very... Yeah.
I love the fact that you can, like, I did that with the Teferi too, where you can play it on their turn, and it just feels so much better. It just instant speed, like on their upkeep. Be like, yeah, you're gonna discard your whole hand.
Just that with Narset is busted too.
Yeah.
Or Orcish Bowmaster.
Yep. Exquisite Firecraft. That's like a burn sideboard card.
Shout out to Michael.
Yep. There you go, Michael. Gear for Aether Grid.
Yeah, that card. That was such a fun Affinity sideboard card. Mm-hmm. I really love that card existed. Also played in a deck coming up called Lantern Control in the sideboard and sometimes in the main.
Yep.
Shaman of the Pack, that really got played. Abbot of Carol Keep. This card everybody thought was the card. Mm-hmm. They're like, I think Patrick Chapin played at the next Pro Tour. Like a lot of people very, very high on this card. I thought this card was gonna be the nuts. Like
Yeah.
I mean, you had Young Pyromancer. There's always these like 2/1 or 1/2 creatures at 2 mana. A lot of people thought this was gonna be like the next X1 card.
Right.
And then just like some cards.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Oklahoma City. Oh,
There it
the
is.
devil.
Speak of the devil.
So this guy was pushing this on the Star City Open circuit, did pretty well, and then won a Grand Prix. And
Yep.
let's see here. What were we missing
Up
up until this point?
The Lanora Waste did not. Those are new, right? Like this.
I think those had been out.
Really?
Inquisition, Surgical, Thoughtseize. So okay, Codex Shredder is very important.
Yep.
So that was RTR. So this deck could have existed since RTR. I'm seeing
Yep.
100%.
Yep. This deck definitely could have existed. As soon as RTR came out, this deck could have been a thing.
Yeah, the Ether Grid's really good addition, but not 100% necessary. Sun Droplet getting played.
Yeah.
I love that card.
Seen a couple of those tossed around before.
So what else? Okay. Dark Ascension.
But yeah, this was like
This deck could have been played since RTR.
for a while. I just remember this deck was more of a boogeyman deck than people made it out to be a real deck. Like I heard of this deck more than it was played because people were like, "You're gonna hate playing against Lantern Control." You know, it's.
What if it shows up to FNF?
Yeah, what if
Do you
it shows up
remember
to
those
FNF?
days?
Yeah. It was like everybody hates Lantern Control because Lantern Control players are always slow players and blah blah blah. Because the objective of the deck is you sit there and mill them out.
What are
One
their
card at a
answers?
time.
What are their answers to Ensnaring Bridge or alternate win cons?
Yeah, mill them.
Mill it.
Mill it. Yeah, mill it. By any means, don't let them have their answers. Mill them to their bin, and then just get on with your life. But I played against this deck in later variants with like once War of Invention and stuff like that comes out, and this deck is it's an absurd idea, and I can't believe someone made it, and it's so funny that this deck just even existed. Like the level of skill playing and interaction you need to understand and like perform at to be able to gain your incremental advantage with this deck. You were like, it feels like you're just sitting behind this fragile wall you've got put up the whole time. You know, anything could strip it apart. So
fetch lands were really cool interaction with this deck of like you hold back your fetch lands. So if like they're like, oh, there's your good card. You in response you could fetch it and shuffle it back and hope you didn't hit it.
Yeah. I have had those interactions too before where it's like, yeah, you hold up your fetch because you know it gives you one card higher, one card deeper, and then like you said, something lands on top. You're like, I can't know that.
Mox Opal getting banned really neutered this deck, and then recently all those mono white answers, Prismatic Ending, Field or Leyline Binding,
Force of Vigor.
Force of Vigor was another one. It's
Yeah.
just like with those white cards existing in the format and them being as good as they are independently,
Yeah,
it's very hard for this to exist.
yeah. The one out I keep thinking about against this deck, the best out at this time ever. Noble Hierarch.
Oh, because you get under the Ensnaring Bridge.
The Exalted triggers under the Ensnaring Bridge. Swing with the Noble. That thing's a 1/2. It's coming in.
I played this at an FNM, and then it was the old like everybody's like, we're not gonna play it. I think somebody came who's like an out of towner and he got stomped, so everybody's like, oh, see, it's not even that good.
Yeah.
And then I played another player who's very, very fucking slow with the deck. Corby wanted to murder me, first of all. And I'm just like sitting there going, I know this gameplay. I knew exactly, me and my friend had a 3-hour conversation about the deck the night before.
Yeah.
And then I go in and this guy has no idea what he's doing with it. I'm crushing him. He doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, just fucking concede it already. You've lost.
Yeah.
I literally milled all your options.
Yeah. This deck definitely has thoughts or memory, nostalgic thoughts of like this deck is hell. Like you're stuck in hell when you're playing against it.
Yeah.
So
I get like super bad anxiety when I like feel like I'm going to time, and so that was not a good deck for me to be playing.
Yeah.
Because people aren't, the opponent needs to know what its cards, like what the ways it can answer it. And if they're inexperienced in the play pattern, it slows down the game because they think about every fucking draw that they do.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh wait, can I do that? What's this card do now? If I, and your opponent, the Lantern control player's going, it does nothing. My turn, please.
Yeah. You have to rely on both players knowing how that game interacts really well to have a quick, concise game. Otherwise, this will go to time.
Yeah, it's not necessarily. It's probably the Lantern control player isn't the slow one. It's the opponent who doesn't know how to interact because it was such a weird deck.
Yep.
Twin BBD.
Yep.
Well, he's a great player. Wrote for Star City games for years. I wonder what he's doing. I kind of miss hearing about him.
Affinity. This was running Hangerback Walkers, so new addition. Made it in.
Elves again.
Elves, assuming they're running...
Lead the Stampede, and I think it playing...
They're not running any Shaman of the packs, surprisingly.
Oh, yeah. Not yet.
Was Lead the Stampede, did that come out in Magic Origins, too?
Ooh, it might have.
I think it did. What about Sylvan Messenger?
Yep. I missed a lot of cards.
Well, it was elves. We didn't really expect elves, but
no, I did not expect them to be in any of these top eights.
Yeah. Bloom Titan again. Dragon Lord Jermoka. Interesting. Otherwise,
it's like it's Sigarda.
Yeah. Keep them from interfering with them on their turn. I can't imagine what this deck would do with like Grand Abolisher.
Paul Rietzel played Merfolk.
Huh.
Wow. I haven't heard that name in probably almost a decade. Yeah. He's an old pro.
Yep.
Red deck wins.
That one's playing a Tarkus command. So yep.
Was it?
Splash green for that. 4 Tarkus commands.
And they didn't cut the skull cracks.
Yep.
That's weird. I mean, people are still playing Kitchen Finks at this time, so that's not super weird. Having 6 of that effect, versus like 3 on average today.
This card's great. Like it's just more skull cracks for them, basically, and it's more versatile too. Because like you could just pump your whole board. You get prowess triggers on your Monastery Whispers. Pump your board, go to combat, and swing. Yeah,
when they hit the Nikado, that's where you really get the value of that +1, where you can turn this into a Boros Charm.
That's true.
Scape Shift. Compulsive Research. That is incorrect. It's a sorcery, people.
Yeah.
That card was very good in its standard, I think. But everybody knew it was like, nope, can't play it in modern. There's a newer version of this in standard that I've played. Same mana cost, instant. Draw 3 cards, discard a basic land, or discard 2.
Oh yeah.
And then Thirst for Knowledge it got played some amount. I remember at the very beginning of the format, people thought it was going to be very big. Thirst for Knowledge. New set.
Battle for Zendikar, October 2nd, 2015. This begins the decline until Eldrazi Winter.
It pokes its ugly head out.
Yeah, rears its head into this guy. Eldrazi Mimic didn't come out in this set, did it?
I don't believe so. I feel like there's like at least 1 card.
Well, there's like Found Not Seer and Reality Smasher, but I'm pretty sure those were both Oath of the Gatewatch.
Yeah, it's
Oath of the Gatewatch. Okay, so Eldrazi Winter didn't become a thing until Oath.
Correct.
So we're still safe here. We're still in the safe.
I got a story on this one.
Oh, yeah?
So these cards got spoiled. I was trading into Eldrazi Temples, Aya Ugins. I had this whole deck.
Hmm.
Deck spiked for some reason. It wasn't even that great. It spiked up. I sold the entire deck. I cashed it in and bought Affinity. And then I eventually got the deck back, but
Yeah.
it took a while. Oh shit, what I do? Oh, here we are. Sorry.
So Battle for Zendikar. Let's see, Conduit of Ruin. What were the Eldrazi deck I played? Endless One, Conduit of Ruin, Blight Herder, Wasteland Straggler, uh, and Eldrazi Sky Spawner, Ruination Guide.
Yeah, and I can't believe it. That deck was so maybe I didn't sell out until Battle came or Oath of the Gatewatch came out, only because it's like these initial builds they're like black white builds,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I don't remember them.
I mean, seems like
There's
this.
like no power in here.
Yeah, this doesn't seem as powerful as Oath brought in, Eldrazi wise. But there are some pretty other strong cards in this set. I think Sanctum of Ugin is a decent include for like Tron decks.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely wanted that to be able to fetch out another castable bomb for themselves. Zulaport Cutthroat has some interesting combo implications. I don't think it really saw that much of play, even in like devoted druid style decks, but
A lot of people play Blood Druid or a Blood Artist over it, but I think it hits each opponent instead of target opponent,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's critical with some things.
Mm-hmm. Bring Delight though, that definitely has seen play in modern. That card has been amazing for Scape Shift. We'll probably see some of that where across, not even just like after the set's release, but the years going forward.
Mm-hmm.
There's some builds with Titan, with Scape Shift specifically, and just like other, it can just pick up anything. So it's like it's such a versatile card. The one I keep thinking of too is like the Nid Mizzet decks. Nid Mizzet Reborn when they come out, the new 5-color one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that a Pioneer style?
It was modern for a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't remember.
It was a really weird. It was kind of awkward, and I didn't think it was that great at the time.
I don't think it ever was.
Yeah, but like the Bring to Light into Mizzet draw, 4 or 5 cards seem pretty decent.
So. You're doing that, and I'm playing fucking Teferi on 3. Like,
right,
what?
Right,
power level discrepancies here.
Other than that, Crumble to Dust is a sideboard card. Shambling Vents.
The creature lands. Yeah, I didn't write them all down.
That one's the most important one I can think of from that set.
I believe so.
Because the other ones like Lumbering Falls. I don't even remember what the other ones' names are.
They weren't good. But I probably played them all.
Quagmire. The green black one.
I played that one. That was okay.
Yeah.
Wandering Funerals didn't come out until the next set.
No, doesn't come out till Oath. But yeah, I don't remember the other ones. Hissing Quagmire, Shambling Vents. Oh.
Red, white, Needle Spire.
Yeah, Needle something Spire and Double Strike 2-1.
Got that one. So red, white, red, blue.
Fumarole.
Oh, I guess Wander was it?
Fumarole wasn't in that set though. I didn't think.
I don't know.
Anyways,
cards I'll never see play ever again.
Then October 31st, Grand Prix Porto.
I'm impressed with Standard and how they've created a format where these okay creature lands are getting played. Like the black green deck that I've been playing a lot of. I mean, without those creature lands, the deck probably is not good enough to even play.
Yeah. Oh, I saw you're playing like a 1-of the Blossoming Turtle to support them or something. 3 of?
Fuck yeah, 3 of
Three
them,
of?
man.
Mm.
Look at this guy's name. He has like
Marcos
5.
Paulo de Jesus Fritas.
It's Jesus.
Jesus Fritas.
Neither Reliquary locks it on Smiter. Voice Kate Coco. He did not hard commit to the Coco. Cut that Elspeth. Cut that Dramoka's command.
Put in for Coco. Go to town.
Yeah. What are you doing, dude? I know you won a Grand Prix, and I'm just sitting here in our living room, but Wild Nikado. Here's a proper
Naya
build,
Burn.
children.
Okay.
I don't know about the Grand Lava Mancers. Those last a long time.
Yeah.
The 4 or 5 color good stuff has the like new creature in the modern.
Oh, it's got the territorial Kabu over the front of it.
Yeah, that doesn't come out for a while.
Yeah. This is playing Geisters draft, which is interesting. And the retreat to Coral Helm. Okay.
So retreat to Core Helm combo. I also remember playing this deck, thinking that I was just gonna like KO my one shot my opponents. Never fucking happened. Always came up short. And it was just like, I have to combo this turn or else I'm dead.
Yeah.
This deck, I never liked this deck.
So this gets all the lands in your deck outright, basically.
Yeah.
And then Kesek Wolf runs them or something, or tries to.
Yeah, you're like trying to fetch into more lands and
make those huge.
Knight them all away. It's just,
that's a little silly.
Meh. Naya burn. So we got only 2 burn.
2, but they're both Naya. So
Living End.
Oh, okay. So this is the first build we see of it.
I thought we've seen it already.
Maybe once.
I thought it won a Grand Prix. Yeah, it won a Grand Prix like last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in 2014.
Huh. Yeah.
Didn't gain anything, didn't lose anything.
No, not really. It hasn't had anything added to it.
The other one was playing the landslide. It has just 3 any color, 1 red, 2/2 haste. When ETBs destroy target non-basic land, echo. So you play it, blow up their land, and you're playing
Avalanche Rider.
Avalanche Riders.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do now. Okay, yep. So it's playing a little bit older creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting that it made it back up though.
Twin. 2 cryptics. 3 dispels in the main deck. Holy hell.
Wow.
I remember I played against this one guy named Andy, and I had like 1 main deck dispel and 3 in my sideboard because I was just like in a rush and put my sideboard together. And I played up against him. I think he's playing America Control. Just smoked his ass because he never saw the 4 dispels coming.
Yeah. Yeah. They never see the 4th dispel coming.
As they shouldn't. As they shouldn't. So
and this is our last event for the year. Grand Prix Pittsburgh 2015. Yet again,
I lied when I said the Grixis control. This is the Grixis control list that I played.
Ooh.
Jace Vryn's Prodigies.
Yeah.
Snapcaster Mages.
Yep.
These bad boys. Rise and Fall. This card was so hard to get back then.
Really?
Yeah, because nobody played it, and it's just like some random ass card, uncommon from Dissension.
Oh.
You really see the rarity of Dissension cards when it comes to uncommons for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, that's when people are like, oh yeah, these are really hard to just get a hold of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though, like, the Shocklands don't seem that rare.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting.
Craig Wesco, famous white player.
Love it.
Vermaz, baby.
One of Brimaz. Linvala, Keeper of Silence. It's a hell of a card.
A lot of people hating on... Oh, this is probably This is close to that Jacob Wilson list, and very similar to Brian Kibler's list at that Pro Tour.
White-green, kind of hate bearer, taxes, X,
Do
This
you
deck.
do you remember a modern where Voice of Resurgence was a good card?
Oh yeah, I that card has won me games. That card is amazing. I love that card. Love playing with that card.
So
Definitely
why
like
is
this.
this card okay in our opinion, but Orcish Bowmaster is not?
Well, this card is. It doesn't have the upfront value on it. It's a 2/2, right? For
Okay.
2 mana. Versus it has no. The immediate effect is not targetable, so you are not in charge of it right off the bat.
Hmm.
It relies on your opponents to play around you. So, but it's not like
You don't have to play the game at instant speed.
yeah,
I guess you don't have to draw cards, but if your deck is predicated on the concept of drawing cards,
yeah.
that makes it makes you counter spells. So like you have cards that draw a card.
Mm,
You have counter spells, which are frankly practically only played on your opponent's turn in most cases.
mm.
So you have both of those types of cards in those formats that are getting attacked.
I think it's about the incremental advantage again, where it's like Bowmasters is providing a clear and present advantage, whereas Voice of Resurgence is a possible incremental advantage. Where like I'm putting something down and saying you can play around this, or you can choose not to. But if you choose not to, I am going to get the value out of this that I should be getting, for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it like the amount of play your opponents have around it too, um, where like Bowmasters, you that ETB is just there's no.
That's what makes or breaks it for you. Oh, that was another topic that we should have talked about at the beginning.
Oh, was the rewrite or the
Yeah.
NTGA cards?
So we bitch and complain about the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters, and in Magic Arena, historic format, they errated the cards, or it might have been Alchemy. I don't know, but they errated Orcish those two cards
Wherever they're
specifically.
present on Arena, they've been modified so that
Orcish Bowmaster no longer triggers on ETB, and then the One Ring has all of its abilities except the one where it taps to draw cards. It costs 1 mana to activate. Um, I kind of wish it was up to two. If they made those changes in modern, I think I would prefer it to be at two.
yeah. Well, even with it at 1, it's like that's great. It takes it from a turn 4 play to a turn 5 play.
Kinda, or you're fogging, and then on your turn, you're back to
just
4
sitting there with
mana to
it,
draw a card.
and your opponent has a chance to just get it out of there if they need to. So,
But that was oh, go ahead.
nope, that's out.
That's directly Wizards of the Coast showing these cards are too powerful, and I mean it's not perfect oranges to oranges or apples to apples, but it's also they're onto it. They know that they fucked up with these cards, and it's why aren't we seeing any movement? Why aren't they talking about it?
Yeah.
It's because they have another product using those cards as their main leverage points coming out soon in the next few months. For I think it's for the Christmas season.
Yeah, like holiday, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Holiday Lord of the Rings. So.
But yeah, the ETB is pretty big up front, and then the one damage, the one so okay, the drawing the cards and the you can't play instants properly, I think are kind of at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to it attacking one toughness creatures in eradicating one toughness creatures, that's where it really pushes it over.
Yeah.
So I guess if we're looking in a game design concept, it's okay. That's the tune. That's the tweak we need to make is not have it hit target creature, and then it's almost at the same power level as Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah, and I would say this is like you let's say you cast a bolt or something to blow it up. You 1-for-1, you kill the voice for the bolt, and you get a creature out of it.
Get the back end, yeah.
Yeah, and versus I draw a card, and they get to deal 1 damage, blow up my creature, make a creature or make their creature put a counter on their creature.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just an immediate 2-for-1, no questions asked.
Yeah, it's a condition. I mean, yeah, you have to have a creature with 1 power to really
Right.
kill you. But and then this is 2 colors.
Yes.
That's very important too.
Yeah, and I mean, you could also look at it where like the Bowmasters can affect you on any point, and it's also flash, so it can come in as a surprise. And this is sorcery speed, and then it's just like it's in there. Like it is very obvious that you just got to play around it. Like
it's interesting that this card is unplayable in Modern, and Orcish Bowmasters, the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
Are one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Grixis Control, as I brought up. Mm-hmm. Corey Burkhart, commentator for Wizards of the Coast now. He used to be a big writer for Star City. Uh-huh. I think this is one of his big debuts.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he was kicking around the Star City circuit, but this was a big one for him.
Yeah.
Twin.
Running a Kiranos main board.
Oh, fuck yeah, I didn't catch that.
That's funny.
As Riley's been saying, you let that resolve, I'm winning.
Yeah, yep.
That was pretty true back then.
Yep.
I forgot about Kiranos. Let's see, this guy's got to have in his sideboard, right?
Two of them. Yep.
He's desperate. And then Teferi.
Mage's Alfair. Interesting.
This card had flat, or split second.
And Valakut Scape Shift.
Playing a weird card. I remember when this came out, people talked about it. This is like its only appearance.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's the year. I don't know, it doesn't seem it seems pretty diverse. It seems fairly balanced.
I mean, there were a lot of decks that got cards that they needed that it really filled out the shelves of a lot of decks. Like we see a lot of cards that are more key to the era that's coming up, I think, where you've got like Ugin, like Temur Battle Rage, Grimag Angler, stuff like
Coco.
That. Just these wild cons block cards that aren't necessarily like banger rares or anything, but they're just amazing fill-in pieces for decks that really need them.
Yeah. So. Stubborn to not, yeah.
Yeah, like Kolaghan's Command, that just like one of the spells that definitely has shaped the format for quite a few years. Mm-hmm. Like that is no doubt one of the better spells to come out of this year and the recent years. So,
and when they ban pod, it did open up the format. Mm-hmm. You see these other creature decks doing better, these white and green based decks starting to form in different ways, and they're still doing well, they're still winning. Junk, they can't really find their identity, they're all over the place. That's a good place for Wizards to be, because nobody's found the best deck. Twin is consistently doing well. I would not say, like, this is not what I have in mind as the glory days, but it is a very healthy format. Mm-hmm. I think if we did an Edison format of this, without knowing, like, maybe there is a best deck in here and we just haven't figured it out, but I think this would be a good place to start. Other than, like, my favorite place to start would be back Born of the Gods. Like, if I had to pick that tournament, that's where it would be. But this one, not a bad format.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost say that Twin is like one of the few decks out of like the old modern meta to still really be thriving at the moment.
Which deck?
Like Twin, because
right now
Pod's kind of fallen away, and Affinity and Jund are there, but they don't have, like, I guess Affinity is pretty present, but doesn't have like a stranglehold on the meta like Twin does right now.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. You didn't see any of the 4 decks in the top 8.
Yeah.
I don't even know know if we saw 3 of a certain deck in top 8.
Yeah, yeah.
We
It
might have seen
definitely
one.
feels like really diverse.
Mm-hmm.
The metagame is pretty diverse, and especially the cons block cards are really starting to push the power level a little bit and give other decks a chance to shine through.
Mm-hmm.
So, and definitely really wild that we saw nothing come of the Golgari Grave Troll and banning yet.
So no dredge.
nothing, nothing yet. So,
So this is 2015. Modern Horizons 1 doesn't come out until 2019. So it's 4 years before it's getting rebanned.
Yeah.
It's got to come up before then.
Yeah. Well, with what comes next? So we get Oath of the Gatewatch, and then Kaladesh comes out, right? It's either Kaladesh or Aether Revolt has Cathartic Reunion, and I know that was a pretty solid card.
Aether.
I
I
think
think you're right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is Kaladesh.
Yeah.
What year did that come out?
2016.
Let's find out right now.
This is about where I started playing Magic. I think I remember when Amonkhet came out. The first release, I remember.
All right. So.
Oh, okay.
Wow! It's
no. We got a little bit still. Actually,
so we have 2 years.
Well, we're on Battle for Zendikar just released at the end of this year, right? Or towards the end of this year.
Yes. So we have.
So 2016.
Oh wait, no. There's no core set.
Yeah.
So it is next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we get Oath.
Wow.
Oath, Shadows, and Eldritch Moon next year. And then the year after that, we get Kaladesh, either a Bolt, Amonkhet, and maybe Hour or something like that. Mm-hmm. So.
Is there any aspect that Magic Origins was a really good core set? It brought in a lot of cool, interesting designs and just cards in general.
Yeah.
The other sets were meh.
Yeah. I mean,
to me.
I think that the introduction of like just cool mechanics like spell mastery and stuff like that, like prowess, and it had lots of good kind of interesting fill-in cards. It was another good experiment with like double face cards on the Planeswalkers. So
the story and like seeing where the Planeswalkers came from, that was really cool what they did on that card. So that was really good design there.
Oh yeah, like having it being a creature on the front, flipping to a Planeswalker, and like the interaction with the Planeswalker or with the creature on the front face had meaning for the like if you read the lore of those Planeswalkers, you understand the mechanic better of like, oh, I get why you have to do this to make them flip into a Planeswalker now.
Yeah, especially Liliana or brother.
Yeah, sacrifice it, make a zombie, flip him or flipper. Sack another creature dies. So or Jace's is like you have to draw a discard, so you're milling from your mind, or like you're losing your mind, and he flips into a Planeswalker. Chandra's I think is damage. She deals 3 damage in a turn.
Increments of 1. Yeah, or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So you tap her. I remember doing a lot on Magic Duels. Tap her, cast a spell, untap her, tap her, cast a spell, tap her, flip her over. So.
That was a good product. Foster talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's 2015. So.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Even though our camera broke, thanks.